everybody, and welcome. This is episode 10, double digits, of the Uncensored Anime Podcast, where we provide uncensored takes on anime that we've been watching. This episode is a little special. We have with us a very unique special guest, the one, the only Dark Sage Collections, aka Chase. Welcome to the podcast, Chase. How you doing?
I'm all right. How are y'all?
All right.
We're living, man. So, our last two guests, Chase, were in-house. You know, we had my wife on, and then we had my little brother on. So you're our first. Well, you're our third technical guest, but our first guest is a internet personality, someone that we respect, someone that we like. David and Kenny have recently been introduced to your content through me, and obviously I'm a big fan and friend of yours. So we're happy to finally have you on the podcast to talk a little bit of anime. So Chase, if you didn't know, every time we have a guest on, we always start by throwing it over to our guest to tell us what are your top three, not best, your top three favorite anime series, and why. So Chase, give us a little go. What is your top three shows and why? Take as long as you need. We're excited to hear the answers.
Mm-hmm. All right. So usually I would say Dragon Ball Z, but as I've gotten older and took the nostalgic glasses off, Dragon Ball Z can't be number one no more. It's in God tier because it's disrespectful to put it on the number list. But if I had to choose a number one, Dragon Ball Z is only God tier because I grew up with it.
Right.
If it didn't have all the game or all the merch or all the toys, it wouldn't be God tier. I wouldn't like Dragon Ball Z like that.
Right.
But my number one as of right now is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is probably going to stay my number one forever. It's a grown man anime.
It's a grown man. Yeah, it really is.
Okay.
Yeah. If you say that you don't like it or you meet someone that doesn't like it, stop talking to them because they're really childish. We on that grown man time. Second one might have to be, if I'm moving everything up, second one might have to be Yu Yu Hakusho. Because that's straight pull up. Yusuke, he don't take no crap. When he saw that boy Taguro, he was big, but he still put that whooping on him.
Hell yeah.
I like putting Mob Psycho as number 3 because I like Mob Psycho as a whole more than Naruto, but I grew up with Naruto. Because I like Mob Psycho better, but I grew up with Naruto.
Right.
So I probably gotta put Naruto as my number 3 because I grew up with it.
Right. It has a bit of a nostalgia.
Naruto Shippuden.
Right.
Okay. So I think nostalgia.
And obviously,
I must say, all Shonen anime. All
Shonen Jump, all three major Shonen Jump hitters, right? And I think that all three of those.
I consider myself a normie.
Yeah,
I'm a normie.
That's what you're here for. We need some normies on this podcast because we are all deep weebs. We're deep cut weebs over here.
No. I'm pretty normie too.
David's actually pretty normie. I'm not gonna lie.
I've never seen any JoJo's until our JoJo's episode, which was like a month or so ago. So before that, I didn't even see JoJo's. So I'm hella normie.
He's newly a part of the JoJo's cult, Chase. So he's following in your footsteps. He's ready to be a part of the JoJo's cult.
Let me explain Funny Valentine's power real quick.
No, don't spoil nothing, Kenny. If you didn't know, Chase, Kenny has a habit of.
Chase has left the chat.
Yeah. You haven't read past part 5, have you, Chase?
No, but once I get my webcam and start the streaming on Twitch, I'm gonna start reading part 6 and 7 and 8.
Oh, okay. That's exciting. Yeah, I'd like to read them at some point too, but I think part of me wants to wait for the anime. I don't know. I'm weird.
They'll get animated here pretty soon anyway.
Right.
But it's so long. It's months away.
I know.
Yeah.
Jolene.
We need
6
Jolene.
is definitely getting announced at this next JoJo's thing, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
Chase, did you hear about that? The JoJo's event happening next year?
In April?
Yeah.
A lot of people are thinking it's just another Rohan OVA. So I'm like, you know what? David Productions would do something like that. That spoke Rohan Kishibe 2 or something. I don't know. I'm not.
Wait, hold on. Rohan got his own
OVA.
He did, yeah. It's based off, I think.
Basically, it's the most intense running you will ever see in anime.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I think Araki wrote it too. I think it's based off something Araki wrote, if I remember correctly.
Rohan's his favorite character, right?
Yeah, is that so? That's not just a meme. He's really Araki's favorite character.
Yeah, Araki loves Araki. Yeah, I think that he jokes that it's like himself. I think I've read somewhere that Araki sort of like Rohan's sort of like the himself as a character, if I were to say. But
Right.
damn. So, and not just that, but obviously you put Yu Yu Hakusho on your list, Chase, which you know that's on my list and has always been on my list. So I'm all in the pull up gang for Yusuke, so I stay lit on that. But I think it's interesting you brought up Dragon Ball as sort of, I know you always talk about how it sort of transcends the lists, right? So we can't put it on our list no more. So I don't know, boys, Kenny, David, what do you guys think? Because I know that my opinion of Dragon Ball has slowly faltered as I've gotten older as well. And Chase mentioned it. What about you guys? Do you think that Dragon Ball has, it's lost its touch over the years as we've grown up?
I don't know. I think it's one of those like people don't like Seinfeld anymore because it's too tropey, but it is the trope. It was the progenitor of. It didn't,
Right.
you know, the Dragon Ball Budokai was the first tournament arc, like period. And so like you can't, I don't know. I agree. Like you got to retire it, you know. I sort of retire. I retire like Cowboy Bebop and like Dragon Ball and even like Yu Yu Hakusho. They're like, you know, they're classics, you know, slam dunk. Nobody will ever do it as good as they did it. Right. But tons of great anime are out. Right. And so I don't know. That's how I sort of feel.
I vibe with that. I think that's funny you said Bebop too, Kenny, because I don't know if people have retired it like that. I think people still put it as like their top one or whatever if they're like a big Bebop fan.
I think it's a big cop out to be like, yeah, Cowboy Bebop's the best. And you're like, okay, we all understand that. Like, it's a great anime.
You can tell they watched Adult Swim when they were 14 and they were like, oh yeah, this is my favorite anime, dude. Like Cowboy Bebop.
Wait, are you describing me?
David, shut up! No, because
your favorite anime is Vampire Knight.
Yeah, David loves. Okay. Have you ever heard of Vampire Knight, Chase?
No, I haven't.
Dude, okay,
I haven't watched it.
It's a shoujo anime, a very popular shoujo anime.
About it's a JoJo anime.
No, shoujo. It's a shoujo anime.
Zero. He's in high school, I think, and he's a vampire, and he has a little gun.
And he's a knight.
It's like Twilight.
Vampires in love.
Yeah, it's
basically anime Twilight.
Yeah, like anime Twilight almost, but with there's like a school involved too, like vampire school.
Obviously,
because every anime has vampire school. It's really good, dude. You should watch it, Chase. No, you'd hate it, dude. Please don't watch it. It's not terrible. Okay, so
I feel like Cowboy Bebop is a cop out. Like I feel like it's the pretentious answer to say.
Yes, because you watched it.
No one can ever give me a straight answer. Why is Cowboy Bebop the best?
Yeah, that's true.
No one. I'm not saying.
I always say the music. Like if I was ever asked a question, I would say the music. I think is the best thing about it.
It tells its story really sunctly, right? There's not a lot of
It's very
information.
No fluff.
Well, it does have some fluff. Honestly, I think Bebop has a couple episodes that if they didn't exist, it would still be like at its core the same anime. Like it would still be the same anime at its core.
I feel like it's episodic.
Yeah, it's really episodic.
It's intentionally pulp, I think, and that's sort of the Western style. If that makes sense.
It is, and that's why it's made that way.
Right.
But
I'm Mr. Unpopular Opinion when it comes to popular anime, though. So
that's
if
true.
You want to give a really unpopular opinion? I'm the guy. I'm Mr. Controversy.
Because wait, you watch
doesn't rank Hunter x Hunter up there.
You're foolish about that. I still can't play with you like that.
You like Yu Yu Hakusho, but not Hunter x Hunter.
He loves Hakusho, but doesn't like Hunter.
Hakusho is straight pull up. It's straight pull up. Ain't no talking. We about these hands being thrown. The spear gun about to be hit to your face.
It really is.
Gon takes 50 episodes to get a signature move.
Oh my god.
He really does. He really does.
Move like 3 times in the show. How am I put that in a video game?
But Ned is the best.
Best magic system.
Look at the stand ability. Look at the stand ability.
Stand
of your physical medicine. You're conscious. I'm like, all right, I don't get it. Hey, I see Star Platinum pull up though and start hitting KATEKYO. I'm like, okay, I get what that means.
That's true.
It takes about 10 episodes for you to get what it is. It was like, all right, New York. Now we have a whole different system of men. Basically, we go from Algebra 1 to Algebra 2. I'm like,
we really do.
And then when the Chimera Ant arc happens, it's just straight geometry and trigonometry once that happens. I'm like, yo, please stop. Just fight.
And why can't it's so funny. A boat stand by a monkey just come up. Like, it'd just be so much cooler if they just had fucking, like, a cat stand.
My favorite part is when the desert turns into a stand and the baby's a stand and Kakuin makes him eat his own shit.
Cell phone tower is a stand.
Yes. I love JoJo's. You're right. Actually, Chase, I've never thought about comparing JoJo's like power system versus Hunter x Hunter's because JoJo's is really straightforward, but it's really, really intentional. Like when Araki designs a character for a stand, he always thinks a lot about its naming and its power that's associated with it and the character's personality that plays into that, which is actually super impressive because it's not a very hard to understand concept. Once you get in there and you're like, oh, this is soft and wet, or oh, this is Star Platinum.
Wait.
This is, you know what I mean?
Let me ask you though. Then Star Platinum just auras them in the face no matter what their power is.
That's all you need. He's the one punch man. He's the one punch man of JoJo.
Yeah, I love the fight with Jotaro and the dude that turns him into the kid.
Oh my
god! And then
god!
Jotaro's just like a 9-year-old, and he's like,
"Oh yeah,
what? You got me?" And he just beats the shit out of him. You're like, "What?"
He auras him so hard, dude.
Yes.
Holy shit! I forgot about that.
Does he learn how to use the Zelwardo's power? Just I don't know. It's like, wait, what? You can sometime now.
Look, literally, he said, "Oh, so you have the same stand ability as mine?" That's exactly what he knew. Everything he needed to know at that moment.
Exactly.
I'm just
saying.
saying.
Like the first second of the fight, he's like, "Oh, they're the same stand." Dio's like, "What?"
I love it.
Know.
I love it. But I've talked about this before, but I respect people who don't like Hunter x Hunter only because it is a shonen anime only by name. It's not really a shonen anime when you get into it. It's very much not a shonen anime. And that's where it's like it takes a big dive, and if you're not in it for that, then you're going to not like it. And I think that shonen anime fans, they have every right to not like it for that matter. But back to Bebop too, like I think Bebop.
Can I tell y'all a secret?
Tell us, sure. Chase.
When I first watched Full Metal Alchemist, I was bored.
No, I gotta go. Now that was
trigger warning for viewers.
Because this is the thing, all my friends were recommending it to me.
Wait,
everyone knows I love Shonen Jump stuff.
Did you watch the OG or Brotherhood?
Well, I mean, when I was growing up, I used to see the OG, but I'm talking about when I got back into anime and I fully watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Okay.
I watched it and I was like, yo, this is so boring right now. All they doing is talking. And but I started, the days went by, weeks went by, months went by, and I'm like, dang, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was a pretty good anime. I gotta rank it up there. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's one of those ones where I slept on it and it slowly crept up into something that I really
came back.
Yeah.
You gotta admit, Edward's kind of in the pull-up gang too. I mean, just a little bit, dude. He kind of like throws hands faster than you would expect. Just a little bit.
Yeah, but Scar is that guy.
Shit. Yeah, I mean, but as
Scar come up on the scene, look, it's death.
That's true. Scar's actually one of my favorite characters in the show. But that's funny that you say that about Full Metal because Full Metal is pretty much considered at this point. I think when it was coming out, I remember people were considering it, a very good anime. It was very well respected. But in just a couple years now, I mean, Brotherhood wrapped up a little less than 10 years ago. And when it wrapped up, now though, people consider it kind of like a GOAT. Like it's now like taken its time to fizzle into being one of the best of all time, and it regularly ranks at the top of my anime list. It regularly ranks at the top of like all these anime prediction, because and I think rewatching it personally, it has matured quite well. I think that it's held up quite a bit, and I think that when I was younger and I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, I like this for the pull-up parts, for the fights, but now I really respect the world building. Full Metal just has a really great sense of world. And it's kind of like One Piece to me. Like One Piece and Full Metal have very large like settings, and you're like, holy shit! Like there's a lot going on. There's like a lot that I can get lost in this. But that's funny that you say that about Full Metal, Chase. I hope you like it better now. I think it's better than Cowboy Bebop in my opinion. But that's just me.
I enjoy it more than Cowboy Bebop.
Yes, I do too. 100%. So
but I enjoy it. Like it's in my top 10.
Okay, cool.
Whenever spiking that cowboy or like fighting over the guy, man.
I think there are parts of Cowboy Bebop that I love a lot, and there are other parts that I recognize where like it has aged out a little bit. It's just kind of it's kind of showing its age, but I don't know, whatever. I love your top 3, Chase.
It's a vibey anime.
It is kind of a vibey anime.
It's one of those things I put on in the background while I do something else.
Yeah.
Because the story is one of those things where I just have to concentrate into it.
Right.
Yeah. Like you don't have to put the show on. Just YouTube Space Lion. Just put that on.
Oh my god!
Put it on in the background, and that's it. That's all.
That's true. Need. The songs are.
Space Lion are
beautiful.
I listen to the Samurai Champloo soundtrack too a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Have you ever seen
gotta
that
watch
one,
that.
Chase? Samurai Champloo?
Yes, I have it on Blu-ray.
Oh, okay.
I like
That
some.
one's good.
Look, I like some older anime.
Yeah,
I did watch Toonami growing up.
Right.
Just
Come
didn't
on,
watch
you
it.
got, wait,
I really like
do you like wait?
That's
Do you like
true,
sports
Inuyasha.
anime?
Chase, have you
No,
seen any
I
sports
never
anime?
watched a sports. I never watched a sports anime. The closest thing I guess what you would say is maybe Megalobox.
Oh,
The
yeah.
closest though.
It's got a bit of a. It's got
I'm
a
not counting
sports.
it as a sports anime.
It's got the sports like archetypes at play with Megalobox though, because you still have sort of the underdog protagonist, and he rises through to you still kind of got a lot of the archetypes that are in play with normal sports anime. Okay. Well, that's baller status. That was great. That was a great intro to get us kick started on this here podcast, guys. I love to hear it. So, Chase, I do want to ask now, before we get too deep in it, obviously, we didn't let you introduce yourself. But tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved in anime, why it's become the focus of your content creation is pretty much focused on anime at this point. I would say, even though it still has, it's figures technically, but it's slanted towards anime figures, and now it has started to delve into manga reviews. You've posted anime reviews. You've posted all this sort of stuff in your content area. So tell us, what got you into it? Why are you back in anime? What has brought you to this moment? And give us a little bit of that, that anime style flashback. Give us all that, tell us how we got here.
Well, when I was younger, I used to always go to my granddad's house, and my uncles used to always watch Toonami and stuff like that, which had all the other animes like Cowboy Bebop, Inuyasha. I'm trying to think of other animes off the top of my head, but those are the main ones growing up.
You got
but,
Trigun, Ghost in the Shell, Yu Yu Hakusho, Bleach, Naruto,
Yep. All those.
Sailor Moon,
Big O.
Yeah. Big O.
Yeah, we could get that in the recycle bin.
Oh my god.
I seen all of them growing up. But it's just when I was younger, I really didn't comprehend it. But when they started getting the Dragon Ball Z games, that's when I was like, oh yeah, Dragon Ball Z is my number one. It's everything. Because the games is what really got me involved in Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, wow.
But then later on, then Naruto came out. I remember the first day that Naruto came out, and I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like what it was, but then it fizzled out from Naruto to Naruto Shippuden because the big old gap that it had in America.
Yeah.
One of my friends that I met, I think in my 6th grade year, he introduced me to sub anime at that point. And I was like, yo, what's this? And he was like, oh, this is when Naruto was older. I'm like, yo, he's older? And so, I got into that. But then later on, I fizzled out of anime only because of school and other things that through life, I fizzled out of anime. But I always kept up with Naruto. Like, I literally watched that weekly when it came out in Japan, and I watched the sub the next day on Naruto.com or whatever. But I dropped it. Then I kind of picked it back up during the Attack on Titan era, but I didn't really watch it. I used to just rewatch older animes that I used to watch. But then it was 2 or 3 years ago when I really got back into anime because I was like, you know what? Let me get back into anime stuff that I missed, like Death Note, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, JoJo's, for example. I'm trying to think of other anime, Hunter x Hunter. Because I remember seeing Hunter x Hunter, the old one, but I didn't know that they came out with a newer one.
Right.
So when I seen the newer one, I'm like, oh, this is a movie. Then everyone's like, no, that's the remake. I'm like, but I grew up on all the older animes, but now that I'm older, I kind of want to rewatch all the older stuff that I watched. That way I could comprehend it in my brain, basically. And Bleach, but I slept on Bleach only because it's like a Yu Yu Hakusho thing.
David is the exact opposite.
I love One Piece. I love One Piece.
I love Bleach.
David is like a Bleach guy. He talks Bleach all the time.
God,
I'm a Bleach simp. I love Bleach so much. And like when we talked about Burn the Witch last week, I was like, guys, I know it was pretty meh, but I'm gonna give it a 9 because it's Kubo.
David was like, it's connected to Bleach. Yeah,
it's 6 plus a bias 3, so 9.
Chase, if you haven't watched it yet, Burn the Witch is a pretty fun little movie that they put on Crunchyroll. It's a little over an hour long. And it's by the guy who made Bleach.
3 episodes, right?
Yeah, it's 3 30-minute episodes, give or take, 30-minute episodes. So I think it clocks in at an hour 15, hour 20, but it was intended to be a movie, so you're supposed to watch it in one go. But yeah, it's worth it if you want to sit down. It's definitely, I think it could have an impact on the future of shonen for sure. Well, that's great to hear about your growing up there, Chase. And do you want to plug your channel really quick? I know we have a way smaller audience than you, but do you want to tell everyone what you do on the internet?
Well, basically, I'm on YouTube and I just talk about anime stuff, mostly figures, obviously. But I want to get into more of the manga reading side and reviewing animes, but mostly right now, Chase the Dark Sage. If you search up Chase the Dark Sage or just the Dark Sage on YouTube, you can probably find me, or Dark Sage Collections. However you want to type it in, you'll probably find me. And all I do is talk about a whole bunch of figures, a whole bunch of Shonen Jump normie figures that I think are pretty cool. So
absolutely, including a crap ton of JoJo's SASs. So if you want to see JoJo Super Action statues, Chase has pretty much a review on a lot of those at this point, and a ton of the Dragon Ball Ichiban show line. If you're interested in that, you can pretty much see I feel like you have almost all of them at this point, Chase. No, there's probably a lot more, but you have a lot.
Ichiban Kuji figures?
You've done a bunch of the Dragon Ball ones on your channel.
I'm missing one out of that line of the figures.
Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. So if you guys want to check him out, obviously check him out, but we're happy to have him here today. Kind of a long intro. We just took about 20 minutes to get us going. But now that we're going to get into it, I think that the main conversation today, and the reason we brought the sage himself, the great Dark Sage, to the chat, was so that we could have this conversation that's kind of been boiling here in the Uncensored Anime Podcast, and that's that the future of shonen anime is kind of at question. We are at a weird turning point in shonen anime in that there's really not a delineated or clear path, as a lot of the shonen anime that have kind of risen to the top have quickly ended and kind of moved on from being the type. So we talk a little bit about how Demon Slayer has already ended in the manga. Sure, it has a lot of hype left in anime form, but it has already a succinct ending. We have an ending to be expected. Promised Neverland, which we've talked about here on the show as well, has already had its clear ending. It's over. We still have more anime to look forward to, but there is an ending in sight. Dr. Stone is the only one that I think we don't know where that's going. Black Clover is kind of a question because it doesn't really have the right pool numbers to really prove itself. It has a loyal fan base, but has not stood out as a high-selling manga or anime yet. And then you've still got One Piece out at the front of the pack, doing what it's doing, pretty much running shonen anime left and right. There's no one that can really touch One Piece when it comes to sales numbers alone, right? When it comes to sales, Demon Slayer finally beat it in manga sales in 2019, which was a really big upset, but a lot of people have their theories about why that happened, because One Piece had reigned supreme for something like 10 or 15 years, like the number one selling manga every year for like 10 or 15 years. Yeah, I know it held it down pretty heavy for a minute. And obviously it's the best-selling manga of all time. One Piece is, if you didn't know, it is the best-selling manga of all time. It beat Dragon Ball something like 6 or 7 years ago. It finally beat out Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball, I think now might even be third place now, second or third. But knowing that One Piece has sort of moved up to being the current torchbearer of shonen. But we have a bunch of newbies, right? We have a bunch of brand new anime that are in the barrel, a bunch of new manga that people are not sure about yet. And so I think it's good that we have this conversation. Is there a future Big Three? What does that Big Three look like? Because if you don't know what the original Big Three is, that's Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. They carried shonen anime kind of into the U.S. In the early 2000s. They rode on the wave that the path that Dragon Ball opened for them, and they sort of created the anime boom in the U.S. Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece allowed anime to flourish here in the U.S. Something Chase and I have talked in depth about is that shonen anime is the only reason anime is popular in the United States at all. And it has been the torchbearer for that. It has allowed anime to get some mainstream. Sailor Moon as well, which is kind of a shonen anime for girls.
It's like shonen. Shoujo,
Look at Chase.
Yeah. How can I block? How can I block?
How can I? You're about to get a Hakai. He's about to hit you with the Hakai. No. But yeah, so that's the conversation I want to have today, guys. And however we want to take this, I have lots of thoughts on this. I know you guys have thoughts. I really want to hear Chase's opinion because I haven't heard his opinion on what he thinks the future is for shonen. But you two guys as well, we've only touched on it briefly in our old casts, so obviously I want to get into it. Where is this going? What's the future? Is there a Big Three, or is it not that anymore? Is that gone? Is that a thing of the past? Are we going to see anime come in one-shots? So on and so forth. Chase, I want to hear from you first. Where do you think this is going? What are we thinking? Where are your thoughts at? Where's your head at as a shonen anime super fan? Where do you think we're headed?
I don't know. I feel like there can't be another Big Three because a lot of the great animes like One Piece, for example, JoJo, I mean, the bigger animes, more influential ones like Naruto and Bleach and all that. I feel like there's no other animes that would necessarily be able to compete on the same level as them, especially for something like One Piece, which is like number one. It's cream of the crop. Like nothing's going to be One Piece. I think, honestly, it's going to go down as one of the most goated animes of all time.
Mm-hmm.
No other shonen anime is gonna have that. Dragon Ball Z is only riding near that because of the legacy it brought. Well, the legacy and nostalgia that it brought over into America, and basically it's the gateway of anime for anime.
Yep.
But I feel like there's not gonna be another big three. I feel like honestly, the more further we get in the Shonen Jump, it's literally becoming more, I guess, stereotypical or tropey, where it's more flashy action rather than a great story. Because if you watch Demon Slayer, honestly, in my opinion, I think the story is bland. It gets you from point A to point B, but the action, like the visual, is really what catches you. Like, there's nothing about the story that just really amazes you like that.
And
Black Clover, I don't hear people talking about the story like that. I hear people talking more about the fight scenes than anything else in Black Clover. Oh, the new transformation, so and so.
Yeah,
sounds like a shonen anime.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? My Hero Academia.
My Hero.
That has the best fleshed out story technically out of them three.
Yep.
But I tell everybody it's the most hype, and it's just so superficial to me. The character building is all right. Like it's better than the other ones that we just discussed.
Right.
That are in the newer big three.
I agree.
But I feel like
for sure.
I feel like it's basically Naruto 2.0, where what they should have done in Naruto, they're doing better in My Hero Academia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's actually a good point. Calling it that. Kenny, David, what do y'all guys think?
Well, one thing you said, Demon Slayer was not like I cannot stress this enough. The manga is like okay. It's not very like it wasn't very good. It wasn't like it was bad, but the art was pretty good and the action was okay. But whenever they animated it, whenever UFO Table animated it, they made it 10 times better than what it was in the manga. And I think
they saved it.
That is what is the reason why the sales were so good, is because people are like, oh shit, like this is good. Like what? Mm-hmm. And that's why it blew up like that. It wasn't if you go and watch some of the manga battles, it's not very good. It's run of the mill shonen. And so it's so weird to think about like that. Yeah. The animation brought it to a new level.
Yeah. It's the same thing that happened with,
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the same thing that happened with.
I have some of the manga, so I passed through a few pages, and I completely agree.
Yeah. It happened similarly with Attack on Titan, actually. If you go read Attack on Titan's original manga, especially the early volumes, the series really doesn't hold up as a very good manga. But Attack on Titan succeeds as an anime, in my opinion. You see it, like, I think Attack on Titan is successful because it got animated. And had it not been animated, had it never gotten anime adaptation, I think that the series would have ended a lot sooner. And Demon Slayer actually had to deal with that, in that they were already finishing the manga up. They had already decided to close it off. It was fully canceled. They were told to wrap it up, and then the anime aired, and it became the most popular anime in the world. And we were like, holy shit. Suddenly people were buying. The reason it beat One Piece last year is because One Piece put out, 3 new volumes last year or something like that. And those 3 volumes almost outsold. But what happened with Demon Slayer is that people went and bought all 26 volumes. So it wasn't a single volume that sold a ton. It was that a solid fan base of people went back and bought every volume because they had none of it. They, the manga sales were so pitiful prior to the anime airing that the manga was already out the door. And I think it's a great testament. I think people hype it up too much because they think that there's something crazy going on there, but it's not. It's a very base layer shonen series that the animation studio absolutely saved it. It dragged it out of the mud and gave it a new life, which was crazy to me. And I don't know what's going to happen with Demon Slayer because we have the movie that just came out and a new season already announced for next year. So I have no idea what the fan base is going to do with that. Like, I don't know what to expect.
Go straight through it, I bet.
I hope. David, what do you think?
So I was thinking of like I feel like the typical shonen fan doesn't watch a shonen for the story or the plot. They watch it for like the badass fight scenes and like the cool character entrances and just like the really hype cool stuff. And we've talked about Demon Slayer before, where the manga was kind of meh and then the anime blew it up. As far as like, I agree with Chase. I don't think we're going to see anything similar to like a big 3 in current environment. I kind of get the feeling, and I'm not an expert in this at all, but I get the feeling that it's kind of fragmented in terms of fan bases because a lot of these, like Dr. Stone and Demon Slayer, like they aren't like Naruto or Bleach level in terms of like notoriety, but I feel like their fan bases love those series.
That's a good point.
And I like with Chainsaw Man, like that. There's no animation for it. There's no animation for it. But like I binged all 88 chapters of Chainsaw Man in like a few days.
So did Chase. Chase also read it all really recently.
It's so good. Oh, Jerry, you're the only one.
I know. I've only read like 4. I think I'm like chapter 30 or 40. I need to finish it up. And
Chainsaw Man is interesting because it's not. We've kind of talked about this before too. I don't really know if it's a shonen. It might be more. I think seinen is the term.
Yeah,
it's like older because it's just so gory and there's like some sexual stuff in it. Kind of.
Yeah, he just wants to touch some boobies.
He just wants to touch some boobies.
Yeah, that's all. What's it? Dingy. Dingy just wants the boobies, dude.
Yeah, but I think to go back to like the big shonen, I think it's gonna be My Hero. For sure. I feel like that's just because of like the hype that's been around. I mean, it's had successful seasons. I feel like the movies have been successful. I mean, they've been in literal physical theaters and people have gone out to see them. And I might be speaking on my ass, but I feel like the movies have like broken records or something.
No, yeah, they both did, both films did well in the U.S. Some of the highest grossing U.S. premieres of anime films. Yeah,
in the U.S.
I think the biggest grossing anime film in the U.S. is still, I want to say it's Broly. I think Broly broke the record earlier. That would have been 2019.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I saw that in theaters myself as well. Dragon Ball Super Broly, for those listening. That one, I believe, still holds the U.S. record, but I want to say My Hero is teetering and getting close with its 2. They've had 2 movies that came out, I think, in the U.S. The second movie release, the 2 heroes kind of got cut off by COVID, though, honestly, because they were actually doing a lot of the premieres here in the U.S. in March, and I know the back half of the theater rollout didn't happen. It got canned. So I do feel bad for that.
Yeah. And to bring up Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about Jujutsu.
I don't think I've because I've been recently, like the past month or so, as we've been talking about anime, I've been like, oh, I should get back into reading manga. And I don't think I've seen Jujutsu Kaisen on a front page or anything like that. So I'm assuming from that, before the animes aired, it wasn't really like a, super publicized or advertised to be like the next big show. I'm excited from what I'm seeing so far in the anime.
Yeah. I'm scared about Jujutsu Kaisen because I'm caught up and I'm scared that we might be winding down.
Oh no, another show coming to an end that quick.
Yeah, I don't know if, I think there is still some time left in it, but I do think that we are on the downward trend. You know how like in One Piece it doesn't seem that way?
No.
And in My Hero it doesn't seem that way, or Dr. Stone it doesn't.
Yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen, you kind of feel, whenever things start to solve, things are answered and pushed away, you're like, oh fuck, we might be getting to the end of this one.
Yeah. What, Chase?
Yeah.
Can I ask David a question?
Yeah.
Sure.
What?
I'm not trying to spoil nothing, but from where we at Chainsaw Man, I probably missed like a chapter or 2. Do you feel like that's winding down?
I do.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's coming to an end.
That's why I'm so scared of, because it's like I feel like every single chapter I've read in Chainsaw Man, I was like so excited and just like on edge, like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
And I felt like, at least from what in my opinion, like I feel like there was never like a slow period in Chainsaw Man in the manga, because whenever there isn't action going on, I feel like there's some pretty meaningful like character like progression opportunities for Denji or Power. And it doesn't seem like it's forced. It seems pretty genuine and like allows you to look at the characters as more as just demons, or it's like giving them the opportunity to become more than just that, which is really awesome. And I feel like, because I guess it's kind of like an unspoken rule for when a manga reaches like 100-ish chapters, then it'll be animated.
It gets an anime, yeah. Usually you have to break 100 chapters before a studio will start optioning for an anime series. You got to break 100 chapters. So that's the only. I think that's the only reason Chainsaw Man hasn't been animated yet, is that it just hasn't broken sort of that invisible wall to get past the animation side.
Yeah, and I really, really want Chainsaw Man to be animated, because oh my god, like the fight scenes.
Gorgeous.
Are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Just so.
I feel like the anime will just increase the hypeness of it.
Oh yeah,
because of that action. Because sometimes I feel like the pages just encapsulating all that action well. I'm like, I need to see that on the TV.
Yeah. I wish I had a better idea of like how many people or like how popular like numerically Chainsaw Man is, because I feel like people that have like read the first few chapters just get sucked in, because I've seen like lots of testimonies of that on like the subreddit, which might just be just those few people.
Right.
But people from what I've seen are like, I just read the first few chapters and now I'm all caught up. What do I do now?
Well,
so it had the color spread just a couple weeks ago.
I can educate a little bit on this if you guys want to hear. I don't know if you guys know much about this. Kenny probably knows about this too. So in Japan, there is obviously a weekly magazine that comes out, Weekly Shonen Jump, right? And so in Weekly Shonen Jump, the way it works is that the week prior, so when you pick up a copy of Weekly Shonen Jump in Japan, in the back of the booklet or in the magazine, there's a flyer you can fill out and submit it and send it off to Jump to say, hey, here were the series that I read this week in the order I would rank them in. And what Jump does is they take in those weekly flyers and they actually organize the next week's manga, the next week's magazine, to represent the highest ranking series. The only series that are removed from that ranking are your series that are having the color spread or the cover chapter. So those, we don't know where they rank each week. But so what you can do is you can actually go online. You can find databases that keep a score of how mangas are doing in that ranking system. And I'll tell you right now, Chainsaw Man is almost always in the top 10. So in the front half it's always in the front half of the magazine. Pretty much since its debut, it's been in the front half. Some of your other series that are obviously in the front half are going to be your Black Clover, your Dr. Stone, your when it was running, Promised Neverland, Haikyuu, Demon Slayer. These were all series that are in your front half. Jujutsu Kaisen is also a series that's in your front half of the magazine. That's why it's got the anime series now, is because it was running in the front half. It's been running pretty standard in Weekly Shonen Jump as a higher rating series. So for viewers as well, people listening to this, if you want to go check that out, look up Weekly Shonen Jump rankings. You can actually find a lot of people who catalog them on forums, Reddit, other websites that keep track of where series rank, because it's a good way to, if you have a series that comes out the gate and it's in the bottom half for 20 weeks straight, I'll guarantee you right now it's going to get canceled. Shonen Jump is ruthless. And when a show or when a manga is never able to break that top 10 barrier ever in its first 10 to 15 chapters, it's almost certainly going to get instantly canceled. And if a series that used to rank really high suddenly starts ranking lower, you're going to see at least a winding down. Generally, Shonen Jump, if something ranks lower for 10 to 15 weeks, they're going to say, no, you're out, buddy. You're going to have to cancel your series or wrap it up. Series that have dealt with that are shows like, or manga like Siren, which was a really popular series. It fell apart. It had a couple really bad weeks, and Shonen Jump said, no, we're not going to have you anymore. We're going to cancel that out. That show, or that manga, it never became an anime because it got canceled right at about the 100 chapter mark.
143.
Yeah, so it got canceled before it really got its moment. You've got some other, Majin Tansei no Gaminuro, which did get an anime. It kind of got pushed out. I think Assassination Classroom, even though it had a really big popularity bump when its anime aired, it slowly got worked out.
I felt like Assassination Classroom came to its own.
And it may have been a planned thing. Same thing with Bleach, right? So like Kubo got in a lot of trouble because near the back end, after he got in his last arcs, he started getting in the back half of the magazine like every week. Bleach couldn't break the top 10 anymore, which was really sad. That's really sad to think about because it was the iconic series of a generation, and it couldn't break the top 10. But Shonen Jump was really kind to Kubo and let him run it until he felt he was done. So he ended up going for like 2 years after Shonen Jump had already kind of given him the notice. They were like, hey, Kubo, time's up, buddy. You know, they gave him a little call. They said, hey, buddy, can you wrap it up?
Started playing the music. They were like,
but they let him go for a long ass time after that, which is pretty weird. But the Shonen Jump rankings, it's interesting because we don't have a say in that. So a series could be incredibly popular in the West, and it could still end up getting, like, if Chainsaw Man, which it is pretty popular here in the U.S., we're bumping it up, but Weekly Shonen Jump doesn't see that. They mostly focus on those weekly questionnaires in the back of their Shonen magazine, which is really a weird and I would say outdated system that is not actually getting a good sense of what is truly popular worldwide. But does Shueisha actually care about what's popular worldwide? A lot of people would argue they don't. They just care about Japan. Japan is their main audience. That's their main focus. If Japan doesn't like it, we get rid of it. That's sort of their thought process. It's why you've seen an end to some of the other... I mean, I would argue that if Demon Slayer had done what it did just a season earlier, I could imagine the publisher going to the author and just being like, all right, get to work. You're working more arcs, buddy. Come on.
Stop killing
Yep.
characters.
Everybody's staying alive. Keep it going. We need
Bring 'em back.
Demon Slayer Kai, Demon Slayer Next Generations. Come on, buddy.
Yep. Come on,
So
they got kids.
So quick question.
Yeah.
So did Toriko get that treatment where it was doing
did.
good and then tanked? And then
it did, David. That's another great example. Toriko had Toriko, I don't know if you guys remember this. Chase, do you know Toriko? Have you watched it at all?
The little guy, the guy, I'm not little, but the big buff guy with the Goku looking outfit.
Yes.
Blue hair.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's essentially it's a cooking manga mixed with a battle manga, right? So you've got badass fights with giant monsters, and then when they kill them, they cook them and eat them. So that's like the what it is. And if you didn't know, it got paired up with Dragon Ball and One Piece in anime form because Toei Animation was doing all three of them simultaneously. Arguably, it was one of the bigger animes of the mid 2000s. It had a moment where it was riding so high, guys. I mean, I'm talking it was top 3 in the magazine each week. It was all this stuff, super good. And then David, you called it. It just started slowly, 6th place, 7th place, 9th place, 12th place, 15th place. All of a sudden, it was in the back half. And it went steady in the back for about 20, 30 chapters, and they finally just told Ashima Bakuro, they said, go ahead and wrap it up, man. Sorry to hear it. And it's crazy because
so
the manga has like 200 plus chapters. It's got a huge, it's a long ass manga. And that's because it was riding so high, and they just kind of had to wrap it up. So the ending of Toriko, to my opinion, is not the best ending to a series because Ice Shield happened to Ice Shield too, Kenny. That's because they pushed it too hard. They started an arc that nobody cared about, and then it immediately tanked. And I'm like, Shueisha, you can't do that. So yeah, those are two that are weird to me. But
I think that Toriko is a perfect example of why I think there might not be another big 3, and why mangas are finishing quicker.
They tried to make Toriko a big 3. They tried to bill it that way.
Is because you can't, like, One Piece for some reason can continue to be stronger and stronger, and I feel like One Piece was made with that in mind, right?
Right.
I felt like Oda sort of had this idea to, continue to make, he still has power scaling to make it to. But in Toriko, it was like, you fought the biggest, strongest, baddest guy, and then they were like, I guess we're fighting another bigger, stronger guy. And I think that even in Naruto,
that's literally what happened.
In Naruto became the biggest, baddest, strongest guy. Like
he became a god.
Yeah, he became
before the end of the show. And so it's harder.
I hate the end of Naruto so much, guys. I hate it so much. Yes.
Wait, what part exactly? Like,
Kaguya is the stupidest villain coming from the damn moon. I'm gonna slap someone if they keep like Moonanite peoples over here. Oh my god.
Final Fantasy looking shit.
No.
It's just hard to continue to power scale. And I think that if done right, it can be really cool.
Right.
But you have to have that in mind from the beginning. You can't, and I think that Demon Slayer even ran into it in its run, is that like you can't just keep getting stronger, right? There's not you made it very clear who the big bad guy was in the very beginning of this manga, and your character's stronger than him now. So I don't like, what are you supposed to do?
Right.
Where can you go? And I think that Shonen anime more and more are falling into that issue. And so I think that instead of just continuing to run, they're just like, I'm just going to write my story about overcoming this one big bad guy, and then I'm going to end. Yeah. And that's fine with me.
That's good. I was going to ask, so Chase, you've watched the first 3 episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen or no?
I only watched the first one. I was supposed to binge it, I think, today or tomorrow. That's fine. So first episode. So I have kind of got this prevailing theory, that I think that Black Clover has missed its moment. And I want to hear all of your guys' thoughts on this. And I think that Jujutsu Kaisen is going to prove it. It's going to prove that Black Clover has missed its moment. So here's my thought, right? My thought is that Black Clover should be way bigger than it is. I think that it should be one of the big 3, whatever you want to call it. It should be the big anime right now. I really do think it should. I think Black Clover should be that. It is trying to bill itself that way. It is already over 100 episodes in the anime. The manga is super long running. It doesn't seem to be going anywhere. But the manga and the anime sales-wise and rankings-wise
always ranks super mid. It has never been like able to take it into the top gear, you know? So I think that Jujutsu Kaisen is about to ruin it for Black Clover. I think that if Black Clover was ever going to have a moment, it was going to be this season, and Jujutsu Kaisen had to come out and just fucking wreck it and just decide, never mind, Black Clover, sit your ass down. It's our turn now. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys feel like Jujutsu Kaisen has that sort of appeal out of the gate? All of us here have seen at least. Kenny, you've read the whole manga, right?
Yep, I'm caught up.
I saw the first 3 episodes. David, you watched the first 3?
Yeah, I've seen.
Okay, and Chase, you've seen episode 1. So out of the gate, from our perspective, starting with Chase, where do you feel? Do you feel like it has that potential? Is it going to turn Black Clover around? Does Black Clover? You haven't. I don't know how much of Black Clover you've read or seen. But do you feel like Black Clover has any chance left with Jujutsu doing what? I don't know. What do you guys think? This is my prompt here.
I mean, unless Black Clover could pull a One Piece where everybody was sleeping on One Piece, but the longevity of One Piece kind of was what kept it up in the mainframe or whatever. Unless Black Clover does that, then it can surpass My Hero overall. But I feel like nothing right now is gonna beat My Hero, because when I was getting back into anime, I couldn't go anywhere and not see My Hero.
Yep.
Yeah.
Black Clover, you have to actively actually look for it. It's kind of like JoJo. You have to look for it to actually watch it. Like, there's not a lot of merchandising for it. There's not a lot of promotion for it. My Hero is like the biggest thing ever. And then it was supposed to be in the big 3. I feel like Black Clover was supposed to be in the big 3, but then Demon Slayer overtook it. But even though Demon Slayer it's ended in the manga, but the anime is still technically going. I feel like Demon Slayer took the place of Black Clover. So Black Clover had that 3rd spot. It had that potential. I'm trying to think of a 3rd anime that's like really big. Maybe Dr. Stone.
To me, Dr. Stone, that one. Promised Neverland have both been, when it comes to pure sales numbers and ratings, Dr. Stone and Promised Neverland were both significantly more popular than Black Clover, which blew my mind because they're both very different types of shonen anime. They're not pull-up anime.
Haikyuu is.
Oh, and Haikyuu. Oh, yeah, holy shit. Haikyuu is like super popular. And
I forgot that's Shonen.
Yeah, that's Shonen. That runs in Weekly Shonen Jump. Well, it did. It just ended this year. But
just ended,
yeah, Chase, you got to get into the sports manga, dude. You got to get. Okay. We got to get your ass on it, dude.
You want Kakeru Sport Climbing Girls?
No, don't watch that one. Don't listen to David.
Right here, right now, the best sports.
All right, Chase, we're putting you on. We're putting you on.
The best sports manga that's running currently is called Blue Lock. It's about soccer, and it's so fucking good.
All right, Chase, give it a shot. No, Chase, I think we gotta get you on this at least one sports manga. So if you were to go back and watch one, I think the one that, in my opinion, has the most like entry level sports manga appeal is Kuroko's Basketball. I think unquestionably, as a shonen anime fan, if you're gonna be a shonen fan, Chase, have you watched it?
I seen some of it, but I'm like, ain't it older?
It's not like older. It's like mid 2000s, so you still got updated anime. Don't watch
like early 2010.
Okay. If you want Slam Dunk.
Yeah, Slam Dunk is like the 80s, and it's got that grainy, that old school.
What I'm confusing it
for. Slam Dunk is that good.
Slam Dunk is amazing, but it is not your entry level. If you want to get into sports anime, don't start with Slam Dunk because you're gonna be like, that's too old school. It just feels really old. But once you've watched a couple sports animes, you can go back to Slam Dunk and see where a lot of the tropes originate. Because Slam Dunk created a lot of the sports anime tropes that you see in modern sports anime. To me, the most hype-ass one is Kuroko's. They have superpowers. They turn different colors. Every single basketball player has like a fucking special move where, one person like copies people's moves. One can throw a ball in from anywhere on the court. One guy can pass really, like that's their special moves. Everyone like the colors light up. The animation is super slick. It's super fast-paced. It adapts the whole manga. You really have a good time with Kuroko's because you can watch it beginning to end. You don't have to go anywhere else. You don't have to read any manga. It's about 75 episodes long, and it's just good. It's just pure good. And it's cool. It's basketball also, and it's high octane as opposed to like, to me, like I've watched a baseball anime. I feel like baseball's a little more slow paced. You just don't have as much high octane energy as you can get out of something like a basketball match. So I think that is the way to start. So I'll put you on to that, Chase. Go sit down. Frenzy likes Kuroko's a lot, dude. Like, it's such a good anime.
I also think Haikyuu is a really good...
Haikyuu is a good place to start as well, but it's a little more childish, in my opinion. I think Haikyuu takes the themes to a little bit more... I
seen the first episode of Haikyuu.
Yeah. And did you like it?
I'm like, it's what you said. It felt very childish. I'm like,
Yeah.
They kind of joking around a little too much for me.
Yeah.
And they don't have superpowers, so
Yeah.
really they need to reanimate Ice Shield 21. Okay.
Yes, Chase.
But if they reanimated Ice Shield 21, it would be hype.
Talking about sports shonen animes, Ice Shield is one of the best, dude. You know much about Ice Shield, Chase? Have you ever heard of it?
No, but every time I go into this local manga shop, I always see it, and I'm like, maybe I should buy one just to see what it's like.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's
Ice Shield 21's pretty hype.
It's the only American football anime and manga that they've ever made, and obviously they have to call it American football because it's not called that in Japan. So they call it American football, like in the series. And yeah, the anime is a little older, and I also don't think it's a really great adaptation of the manga because the manga artist, Chase, and this is gonna blow your mind, the manga art is drawn by the guy who has redrawn One Punch Man. It's the same artist. So
Great.
Art's fucking amazing.
Yusuke Murata?
Yes,
Yusuke
Yusuke Murata. Yep, he is the
the author, the guy who wrote it, is the writer for Dr. Stone.
Oh yeah. The guy who wrote Ice Shield went on to write Dr. Stone.
Dr. Stone.
Yep, but partner with a different artist.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So it's worth. I think reading the manga is the premier way to watch or to enjoy Ice Shield. Unfortunately, the anime and the manga both have really bad endings, in my opinion. They both just didn't wrap them up. They're both just not. And that's what it's hard to like get into it, knowing that like 300 chapters down the line, you're gonna have to deal with like a shitty ending. But it's worth it. The inside of it is what counts.
I think a reanimation too. They could do it where like they end it at the Christmas Bowl, and then do a OVA type for the ending chapters. Because at that point it felt like they just told him to keep writing, and he was like, "Well, I did my thing. Like I took him to Koshin. Like I don't know what am I supposed to do?"
Yes. Okay, boys. Okay, so I think we've fleshed out a lot of the Weekly Shonen Jump series. Are there any other manga that are running in Weekly Shonen Jump, Kenny or David, that we think we need to talk about before we? Because I feel like Chainsaw Man is with Jujutsu Kaisen finally getting anime. Chainsaw Man we talked about that. I don't know if there's any others that are sort of on the up and up that we see moving towards sort of a big place above. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Such a weird place where tons of mangas have like 15 to 50 chapters right now in Shonen Jump, where it's like some of them are finding footing and some of them aren't. And so it's tough to like, we are at such a turning point, I think, especially since Promised Neverland just ended, Haikyuu just ended, Demon Slayer just ended this year. Like all three of those just ended, and Burn the Witch, I'm pretty sure, is going to be coming soon.
As like a full series.
Shonen Jump. Yeah.
It's going to be the next big one. I'm calling it. If it's materialized into a full series, it's going to be One Piece and then Burn the Witch.
Shut up.
One Piece, My Hero, because My Hero is like so fucking good right now.
Then Burn the Witch.
Also,
then Burn the Witch.
I think Black Clover got
look at Chase.
Chase is like, what?
I think Black Clover got such a bad shake because the anime
it got such a bad shake, dude. That's what I keep saying.
Poorly.
It sucks to be Black Clover right now.
The first four episodes are 2 chapters.
It should have been.
My mind.
It should have. Yeah, they started with filler. They opened the show with a filler.
With filler.
Yeah.
Wait, who's the animation?
Sounds like Boruto.
It's Piro. It's Studio Piro, David, the same company that did Yu Yu Hakusho and Bleach. It's the same company.
Oh.
Yeah. They did Naruto also. Naruto Shippuden, and Boruto. They do Boruto.
And I think
that's why Boruto looks ugly.
Yes,
Boruto.
I read Black Clover, it was so like. I think that the manga author very quickly understood that he was going to get canceled if he didn't just pick up the pace. And the new pace that he set for that manga is so good. You cannot get within 4 chapters of a fight occurring. Period. Yeah. Like. It's all battles, and once he understood that,
it's all hype. It's all gas, no brakes, dude. That's what it is.
It's all battles.
Period. It's all gas,
and that's what's good about the manga. And they started the show with filler, so I don't like filler that wasn't battles. So
it hurt the anime. I think the first 15, 20 episodes of the anime hurts it. I think it really does because it doesn't at all match what the manga was trying to do. So you lose that. But now I've heard the anime is super fucking hype. Now it's finally caught up to the manga, and they have met the pacing, and they are pacing it way better. I've heard that the current anime is super fun to watch. But that's just what I haven't watched it myself.
As long as you're not putting filler in it, like
Yeah.
that the manga was created a very particular way, I think, to be hype. Period.
Yep.
Like I just want to watch Asta whack people with his sword.
Asta, right? I thought
that's
Asta.
It's Asta.
It's Asta, Kenny, not Asta.
Asta.
Asta. Okay. So the major next thing that I wanted to kind of chat about. So I think we've really covered Weekly Shonen Jump, which is a big part of shonen anime. Yeah, Chase, what are you saying?
Where do you put Dragon Ball Super and Boruto within the same like category?
Bro.
Yes.
You do that type of stuff?
I do.
Boruto,
Boruto actually does, now to qualify that, so the reason why, Boruto does actually run in Shonen Jump with Shueisha.
Yeah.
And Dragon Ball Super is also, the manga version is owned by Shueisha as well and being published through Shueisha. They're just not running in Weekly Shonen Jump. They're still in other Shonen
I think Boruto's
magazines.
monthly.
Yeah, I think Boruto's in the monthly series. And so yeah, they're definitely categorized in that same, in the Shonen, the Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump family is the way I would describe it. Because they're still owned by Shueisha, which is the parent company. But I do think we have to talk about some shonen anime that are outside of Shueisha, because there's a couple that I think have conversation. There are conversations that need to be had about them. The first being Attack on Titan, right? So Attack on Titan is not Weekly Shonen Jump. It actually, the author tried to submit it to Weekly Shonen Jump. It got rejected. If you guys didn't know that story.
looks like shit.
Yeah, honestly, Weekly.
I gotta look at some of this art.
I think Shueisha really missed
shit.
out.
I'm not joking. It looks like shit.
I think they messed up
we
though.
can say the same about Hunter x Hunter.
Oh God damn it!
Hunter x Hunter is king. Okay.
Oh my God!
Look! I always say this. Look, Tagashi, he's kind of been getting a little trash with the drawings lately. Only because he has those back problems.
Oh, Kenny dropped. He'll be right back. Don't worry. It happens.
You
killed him, Chase. Chase, you knocked him out. You gave him the 1-2.
Chase was like, Hunter's trash.
No, I hit him with the spirit wave. So
Yeah,
he
said,
here.
"Pooh."
That Sailor Moon comment, I remember that.
Yeah, he said Hakai.
Hey.
But I'm just saying, with Tagashi, he has all them back problems from carrying such a goat shonen on his back.
He carried you.
So that's why his drawings are kind of deteriorating with Hunter x Hunter. So we cut him a little slack, but it's too much slack with the Hunter x Hunter.
ever since he's been doing it, where it's like 10 chapters every so often, it's been much better.
It's getting better.
Man, I remember it's the chapter where they're on the train after the fucking pipe guy and the shadow guy show up.
You're talking about in Chimera Ant?
In Chimera Ant, it's like night and day. Whenever he starts to whenever the hiatuses begin, it starts to look poorly, and you're like, this is just sketches. He was releasing chapters that were legitimately sketches. He wasn't finishing them. Yeah, and but now I think that whenever he releases the 10 chapters, each of them is more well done than it had been previously.
But doesn't his wife redraw them?
She helps, and that if you didn't know, Sailor Moon, the author of Sailor Moon, now Kotakuchi, is the wife of Yoshihiro Togashi. And his son also, I think, helps with some of the art as well to help them make sure that they get it up. Okay, yeah. So Attack on Titan, we got to talk about Attack on Titan. It's one of those series that has it started to solidify its place in shonen anime pretty intensely, in my opinion. Some people are already trying to call it the GOAT. Like, some people are trying to say that it's the best of all time. It's going to go down in history.
I've heard that.
Yeah. It's starting to come out quite a bit of this, this is the, Attack on Titan is the legendary, and the manga has not fully completed yet. It's going to complete before the anime.
I thought it ended.
I don't think it has. I think it still has a couple chapters left.
I thought it ended like 2.
Quality check me, David. See if the manga's over. I feel like it's got a little bit left, but you might be right, Kenny, because the new season of the anime is going to do the finale. It's going to go through the end, which is going to be really interesting. But where do we see Attack on Titan in the landscape of shonen? Where is it going to land? It's because if you didn't know, Full Metal Alchemist is also not it did not run in Weekly Shonen Jump. It ran in Shonen, one of the other shonen mangas or magazines as well. But it has definitely solidified itself as one of the greatest shonen animes of all time. And I think that it's tough to kind of, when you have Shonen Jump, which has a ton of bona fide hits, and then you have these other magazines that are running an occasional hit here or there, right? It's hard to kind of quantify where they're going to land. So what are y'all's thoughts on Titan? Chase, we'll start with you. What do you think about Attack on Titan? Where's it going? What's going on with it? What do you think about the upcoming season? What's your thoughts on it?
Mr. Unpopular Opinion. This is just my opinion. It revitalized, I guess, mature anime for like people like my age. When I was coming to college, that's what was hot, was Attack on Titan and Sword Art Online.
Sword Art.
I feel like it's more of a time period thing. Like, oh, that was a great anime back then. Like, I feel like when we look at it later on, I feel like it's one of those animes that we're gonna forget about because of the time period it was in, rather than it being goated and it like having that legendary status just carry it along. Like, it's not going to have nothing like Dragon Ball Z or One Piece or Naruto.
Right.
Like, I feel like it's not going to be near there. But when people look back on it, they're like, yeah, that was a really good anime. But it's not like it's going to be one of those, this is number one, this is number two. I feel like it's not going to be up there.
It ain't going to be that way. It's going to fizzle out. I could see that. And I wonder if it's like, because Full Metal is kind of considered that way now, which it took some time to, but I wonder if it'll even be up there in that same conversation. Like, I wonder if 10 years from now it's going to be a Toriko where like nobody talks about it. You know what I mean?
Oh God, that would hurt.
Yeah, that would hurt if that's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm worried that what if Titan's another one of those. I think I'm going to say it right now. I think Fairy Tail is going to be that way. I think 10 years from now, nobody's going to say
already that way.
Nobody's going to say shit about Fairy Tail anymore. They're going to just forget it ever happened.
Clover is good Fairy Tail.
And I don't know, Chase, what do you think about Fairy Tail also? Because that's another one that's not a weekly Shonen Jump, but I think some people consider in that same. It ran in the same magazine as Attack on Titan, I think, if I'm correct. It did. I think it did. So, what do you think about Fairy Tail in contrast to Titan?
I feel like when we show our kids Fairy Tail, they're gonna be like, "Oh, what's these characters that look like One Piece?" Like, that's always gonna be remembered as the thing that looks like One Piece.
Damn,
like, it's not gonna be remembered as legendary status. It's gonna be remembered as that one trash anime that was just going for so long.
That is a hot fucking take, Chase. Honestly, dude, I hope I gotta make sure everybody hears that.
Honestly, I don't think it's that hot. I mean, I feel like it's a meme to shit on Fairy Tail because of just like I probably have seen like the first few episodes of Fairy Tail. I think I read quite a bit of the manga, but like I don't remember anything of Fairy Tail, and I think that kind of just shows that there's nothing really memorable about it.
Right.
So I think it's already like right now, like in that kind of hole of people like already moving on to something else.
Right.
And whenever you think of like classic anime or the anime that you enjoyed, I bet you a lot of people aren't thinking of Fairy Tail. They're thinking of, you know, JoJo's or Naruto's or Bleach's or like animes like that.
Yep.
Fairy Tail doesn't fit any of those categories.
Oh my god. Yeah, I love talking about Fairy Tail because obviously we all hate Fairy Tail, but there's like a really strong like underbelly of fans that like they love Fairy Tail, right?
They die hard.
Yeah, they die hard.
Yeah.
I don't know why either.
Yeah, I don't know.
A few episodes, and I've seen a few like here and there, and I'm like, I don't get what the appeal is for this.
Yeah, me neither. I can't figure it out.
It's the titties, okay?
It's
let's be
it's
But
all the
anime's got
titties.
It's the goddamn anime.
Look,
titties.
JoJo has that as well. Have
Yeah.
you not seen Jotaro? Have you not seen the Stardust Crusaders?
all their pecs, they got like
Come on.
Q pecs. You telling me that's not good enough?
This man
Have you not seen Joseph in the dress? Come on.
Ooh, he's a mwah. I love that part. That's fantastic. No, but for real, I think that it's crazy that if Fairy Tail really did hold on just because of like fan service, like it held on for a long ass time. Like it stayed in publication for way long. I thought it was gonna get canceled way earlier than it did. I never expected it to last like 10 plus years or something. It changed like 3 different animation studios. It kept getting canceled and like repicked up by new anime studios also. So I'm just
Master was better.
Yeah, did you ever watch Rave Master, Chase, as a kid? Okay, so
it sounds familiar, but no.
It came on. I want to say it came on Cartoon Network when we were younger.
Yeah.
And it was called Groove Adventure Rave in America. Or no, it was called Groove Adventure Rave in Japan. It's called Rave Master in America. But it's the series that Hiro Mashima made before he made Fairy Tail. It's much more original, much more creative. It's a much more, in my opinion, the plotting isn't that much better than Fairy Tail, but it has at least a more succinct plot to it. It's more watchable, in my opinion. I think it's a really good show. It's not iconic. It's not really like the greatest of all time, but it's worth a watch if you want to watch kind of a retro anime.
Is it an isekai?
No. The characters just have like weapons that have like imbued magical power.
Into a sword.
Yeah. It's like imbued magical power. Chase.
Okay.
So now I have a question.
Okay.
Does anyone watch Fire Force or care for Fire Force?
Yes.
Yeah, we all
I like
do.
Fire Force.
Do y'all like Fire Force?
Yeah.
I do.
I feel like it's one of those animes that's gonna easily be forgotten within.
100%.
Like I feel like Soul Eater is
Maybe.
one of those things where I feel like people are looking at it through nostalgia glasses because I recently like tried to actually watch Soul Eater in full because I watched it in passing when I was younger, but I recently tried to watch it and I'm like, why does everybody have this anime in so high regards?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is so great about this? And then when I watch Fire Force, I'm like, this is the same level as Soul Eater right here.
Yeah.
I'm like, they both just forgettable animes. Like they're not legendary status, they're not top status, they're not top tier, they're not A tier, they're not B tier.
Yeah.
They barely hitting C tier.
They barely.
Damn.
Fire Force to me is a turn your brain off shonen where I'm like, man,
It is.
let me just watch some bright colors.
Yeah.
But I mean, the God Studio, David Productions, is producing this season.
Yeah.
So like, I ain't gonna disrespect it too much because
Right.
they produce
Yeah.
JoJo too.
I think that's why though. I think
What?
that's why though because of what's her name? Momo?
Yep. Bro,
Titties?
you remember
Are you talking about Are you talking about titties again, Kenny?
Yeah,
God damn it.
I think that's her name. She's like the no, not the cat girl. The girl, the witch.
Oh, Tamaki.
Tamaki.
In the okay, so I agree. I think that Soul Eater has no bearing. Like I don't know why people think about that show anymore. It was really popular when I was young, and I remember being excited about it. I watched a lot of the anime. I tried to read the manga because I heard that the anime had a different ending. I really wasn't that interested in it. And I just kind of let it die out. When Fire Force came out, I watched the first couple episodes. I have not gotten back into it yet. It feels stale is the word I want to use. So one of the issues that I've had with shonen anime lately is that a lot of the series that come out, they fail to create something new within the archetypes that exist in shonen anime. There are certain things you have to do to be a shonen anime, right? There's certain things that have to exist. But if you can do those in a new or creative way, that's how you succeed in this genre. And I think that that's what My Hero does. Chase said it really well earlier. It's Naruto, but better. My Hero took some of the elements of Naruto, some of the elements that establish a really creative shonen, and they made it better. They improved upon the formula. Demon Slayer, in some ways, has done the same thing with the demon hunting archetype of. There are so many demon hunting. There's been like 6 that ran in Weekly Shonen Jump alone that are literally just like guy hunts demons. Demon Slayer finally did it the best. It's the best that it's been done before. And it took all that old archetypes and they did it better than the ones that have come before it. That's how shonen anime has to be to succeed nowadays. You have to take the archetypes, you have to do them at another level. Fire Force and Soul Eater do not do that. They just have not elevated the game at all. If they're not going to change the Fairy Tail is another great example. Fairy Tail does not elevate the shonen game. If you watch Fairy Tail, that's fine. You can enjoy Fairy Tail. It is not elevating shonen anime and manga to make it more respected, to make it more in depth, to give it any more creative juice. Fairy Tail has done nothing to pump this generation full, in my opinion. Chase.
I feel like there's 2 unique animes. Like now that we're speaking about, I guess we're kind of going to unique shonen now.
Yeah, what makes
like
shonen unique?
And I feel like you know what 2 I'm talking about.
Okay, I'm ready.
Dr. Stone and Promised Neverland.
100.
Those are the only unique shonen. I mean, besides Chainsaw Man, but I'm talking about the ones that are like animated. But
Right.
Promised Neverland and what did I just say? Dr. Stone.
Dr.
I feel like
Stone.
those are the 2 unique ones because the mystery thriller aspect of Promised Neverland, I've really never seen that within a shonen.
Yeah.
Like you gotta get elements of that kind of within Hunter x Hunter with the Chimera Ant arc a little bit.
We talked about
Death Note kind of.
We talked about Death Note.
Yeah,
Death Note is sort of its older counterpart. Promised Neverland, I think, can exist because Death Note did what it did a couple years before that, you know? But that's a good example. Promised Neverland. Go on, Chase. And
I feel like Dr. Stone with the fact of, because when I watched Dr. Stone, I'm like, okay, where's the action at? There was no action. I'm like, and then you get that one fight scene with Tsukasa.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the 8 boy and,
fighting that
Stick
tiger.
Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you see that, I'm like, okay, this looks good.
Mhm.
But then I'm like, man, I kind of like this adventure of them creating an invention each week. Like, I kind of like this. Like, what they going to invent next week? Like the Coca-Cola and all that. Like, I like that aspect of Dr. Stone, the adventure aspect, the exploration aspect, because I kind of feel like that's world building too.
Mhm.
But the way that they go about it, like, it's not really action based, but it's more of a literally brains versus brawn battle, and I really like because you really don't. To me, you don't get that in the shonen unless it's like something like Hunter x Hunter, which I hate to say, Hunter x Hunter, or JoJo, because those are one of those ones where it's like brains versus brawn, which is gonna beat what.
Yep. I actually can't know. I don't know if I can compare. I don't know if there's a great example of an old anime doing what Dr. Stone does at the level that Dr. Stone is doing it, in my opinion. Just because it is taking the shonen genre and saying, hey, you can learn something while you're reading this manga. You can actually have a good time. It's like Minecraft the anime almost. Like, you're going to learn how to build things, make things. You're going to watch your characters do that, but there's still a tense plot that's holding it all together, right? You've still got this antagonist that is has a super like important goal, or he thinks it's important, versus our protagonist, which is sort of the highest level of good. So there's a really cool, and the flashback. I love the flashback to Senku's dad. I think that just it built something that was super cool. And I don't know if there's a show like Dr. Stone. I can't pull anything out of my brain that resembles what Dr. Stone did. And it's what drew me into the manga when I first started reading it.
Yeah. I think that Food Wars, oddly enough, might have
I forgot about Food Wars.
Prior to,
holy
it's
shit.
It's cooking, right? And so they're like teaching you how to cook.
Yeah.
But also they're shonening.
And also, Kenny, titties.
And titties.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of like shonen that aren't like the cookie cutter typical shonen where there's like main character and there's fights all the time.
Right.
And I don't know how successful this one was, but do you guys remember Bakuman?
Yeah. Did you ever read that, Chase?
No, I haven't, but I do see the manga a lot.
Yeah, it's a manga about guys who write manga. That's the premise.
It's pretty meta.
Yeah. So it's the two.
I think
it's the most.
Is it made by the same guys that made Death Note?
It is. So the two guys that made Death Note, they essentially wrote a story about them writing Death Note. That's what their second. That's what Bakuman is. It is a story about.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's honestly. That's a great example, David. I totally forgot about Bakuman too. It does have sort of that Dr. Stone element of like, you're going to learn something, but you're going to have a tight-paced plot. And it's really funny because there's a character in the manga that's supposed to be like Oda, like Ichiro Oda, who makes One Piece. And he's sort of like the god of the weekly shonen magazine. And so like the two guys, Obata and Oba, they have the different names in Bakuman. They give themselves like pseudonyms. But when they like get into the magazine, like this, eccentric, goofy guy who has like the best manga every week, he like shows up and he's like, "You guys are cool. Like, I like what you guys are doing." And they're like, "Oh my god!" It's like it's really interesting. It has an anime as well. There's an anime. They did, I think, 3 seasons of it, and I believe it covers the whole manga.
I'm gonna go back and watch it.
Yeah, I read the manga actually. I've never actually finished the anime. I think I've only watched the first season, but I read the manga beginning to end, which is a weird thing to say. Yeah.
Those guys are making Platinum End right now. So
I haven't tried that one yet. Yeah.
It's about angels instead of devils. So.
Is that running in Weekly Shonen or is that running somewhere else, Ken?
Monthly.
Oh, it's in Monthly Shonen. Okay, that's worth checking out if any of you guys are fans of Obata and Oba who did that. And if you didn't know the author of Death Note before, I believe it was the author, not the artist. The author prior to Death Note did Hikaru no Go. So I believe that, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's where he tracked before that. So that author actually did Hikaru no Go first. And I don't know if you guys remember Hikaru no Go. I know Kenny does.
That was the Go anime, right?
Yeah. It's about kids that play Go, which is like a board game. Yeah.
It's so like checkers. Kind of like Chinese checkers.
Japanese checkers almost. Yeah. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, David, check me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the same author. I think he wrote Hikaru no Go first and then went on to write Death Note with Obata, and then the two of them went on to write Bakuman together. But quality check me. Okay, but
quality check.
So when we gonna talk about the GOAT anime?
What do we got to talk? I feel like we're winding down, so I definitely think we need to wrap up.
Who wants to hang out with Uzaki-chan? Uzaki-chan. Come on.
I thought we were talking about them.
I gotta go.
The whole season and enjoyed it though.
Chase, you watched Uzaki-chan?
I bought the first issue of the manga.
Chase, you got my. Talk about an anime that's literally sold about. It's the only thing that I know about that series is big titties. That's the only thing I know about it.
You know what's funny?
It's literally like
funny because that's what everybody wants to paint it. But I feel like after the first 3-4 episodes, it doesn't really go to the fan servicey, sexual joke type thing. Like I feel like it goes out of that. It's more of the what does this person think about me? It's one of those like you just have your mind in the gutter type thing. Like like the second half of the season.
Yeah, because
I enjoyed it because it's turning your brain off. And it's like, man, I can really understand his pain right now.
Oh, fuck. The one thing that I like about it is that it's characters that are actually in college and not like, it's not, you know how like fucking anime loves to just have like high school girls that are like freshmen in high school and then they like over sexualize them. At least Uzaki-chan puts them at college age, adult age. They make them adults and let them have adult conversations. We talked about another anime on the podcast called Wotakoi, which was also about adults. And I liked that about it. I liked the fact that we could actually relate to them because their characters were actually our age and they were going through struggles that we were going through as adults. While instead we got Iwakakeru, which is the show about girls climbing up rock walls this season, Chase. If you haven't seen it yet, it is literally, it's high school freshmen. They have massive titties and they are climbing up and all of the shots are like girls like climbing up walls and it like shows like right from their vagina upwards, dude. Like it's literally like, it's
episode 1 was kind of like that. Episode 2, I was like, okay, they didn't have any sexualization. I was like, okay, maybe it was just like the first episode, pull people in, and then episode 3, it's fan service.
I told you, dude.
It just pulled a Goblin Slayer.
No,
basically.
It hits you that first episode, but then after that, it kind of mellows.
Yeah, Goblin Slayer is boring in my opinion.
I haven't seen it, but I heard everything about it.
Dude, Chase, it's boring.
I actually binged Goblin Slayer. It's not that bad.
I found it boring. Whatever. Okay, so we've gotten pretty deep off topic here. So I think to wrap up the conversation, I kind of want to go back to our initial, sort of where we started, right? So the way that it seems like we've all discussed here is that we don't think there really is. The big three's never coming back, right?
Yeah.
Is that what we feel? Like it's never coming back.
Maybe not never, but definitely with what we have available right now, I don't think so.
Right. So instead, I think that what's happening and what I've coalesced from our conversation is that there is more of these one-off series that are sort of having their moment in the spotlight, right? So like Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, SAO, these are shonen series that sort of come out, they have their moment, they have their shine, they get big followings, and they kind of simmer into the background. I think that that's going to be a continual process. The only series I think has broken that mold is My Hero Academia, which we've talked about a lot today. And My Hero is good. I think that one thing that we haven't said enough in this podcast is like My Hero it's a good show. I think that people kind of give it a lot of heat because it's so popular and the fan base kind of ruins it is what I would say. It's like Death Note, right? Death Note is a good anime. I don't care who you are. At least the first half. Sorry. The back half of Death Note, not as good. The first half of Death Note up until the main battle between the protagonist and antagonist in the first half of Death Note is, in my opinion, a very well written, very well paced, very well animated anime series. But unfortunately, the fan base for Death Note was toxic as fuck. Like, just unbearable when the show was coming out. The way they would act, they would carry their Death Notes around, all their little... There was so much, like, toxicity.
There was like news stories. There
was so much toxicity.
And, like, writing people's names and hoping that they would die. Like,
the fandom was... like, Chase is like, holy shit. This was real. There was so much toxicity in that fandom that it made it hard as an anime fan to say, yes, Death Note's a good series, and I suggest it to you, because the moment you get into it, you're going to get stuck with all these people that are shit. And honestly, I hate to say it, but I think the My Hero fandom is growing more toxic every day. Like, they are becoming that filthy anime fandom that I don't want to associate myself with anymore. Like, I hate to say it, but I do think that there's, without any question, My Hero has done some things with the shonen genre that is going to elevate the genre. It's going to continue to help push the genre. 10 years from now, My Hero might be over 10 years from now, but I do think that we're going to look back and say, oh, My Hero is something that will, it's going to stand the test of time a little bit, I think. So I don't know, guys. What do you think, Chase? Because I'm curious. Is My Hero... Other than that, is there another mold breaker? Is there another thing to wait for? Or is it going to be this continual one-off thing with shonen? Are we just going to have the next shonen, is every season, are we just going to have to deal with like, oh, this is, got a high school, this is Jujutsu Kaisen, this is Demon Slayer, like, you know what I mean? Like every season there's like that one shonen anime that everyone just acts like is the second coming of Jesus. And is that just going to be, shonen anime forever? Are we just going to have to deal with that for the rest of anime? Is there never going to be, another layer like that. I don't know. Chase, let me hear your thoughts.
I feel like no show right now. I feel like no future anime. Sadly, I have to say this will compare to My Hero the way it is right now. No other anime is going to get pushed as much as My Hero. And this is from the words of Christopher Sabat. He thinks it's going to be the #1 anime of all time.
Wow.
He told me that. I asked him to compare that and Black Clover. He said, "Oh, My Hero."
Has he seen One Piece? You know he's a voice in One Piece. He better shut his mouth, dude.
He said My Hero. He said My Hero's gonna change. My Hero's changing the game.
I think
I feel like what they did, like My Hero had the My Hero. Okay, basically, if all these animes was in a race, My Hero had the Powerade. It had the nice little stretch warm up, and it got a little head start in front of everybody. I feel like that's the push that My Hero had.
They had the perfect timing to come out because superhero movies were the biggest thing in the West.
That's true.
One Punch Man had just come out, and people were interested in more.
I forgot about One Punch Man.
Superhero based anime, and then My Hero hit. It was like it was a perfect storm. Honestly, I remember we talk about this still, Jerry. I remember reading it, and I was like, "This is going to be the biggest anime of all time."
Chase. There's a story.
4 or 5 chapters out.
This is real, Chase. When My Hero Academia first came out as a manga, Kenny was with me, and we were at Akon here in Dallas, Chase. You know Akon, right? I think I've told you about it, but I don't think you've been. So we were at Akon here in Dallas, and no one, there was no My Hero merch anywhere, even though the manga had already had, I think it had 30 or 40 chapters at this point, so almost a year's worth of content. Kenny was like, "Jerry, mark my word, next year, when this series gets animated, you will see My Hero everywhere." I said, "You're a liar. Fuck My Hero." I was like, "I'm never watching that. That show sounds stupid. Kenny, every manga you pick is stupid." No, back then, Kenny used to say every manga was the best, though. That was like Kenny's one clutch. He would call Kenny used to say bad stuff was good. So we just always joked Kenny didn't have a gauge of what was good and what was bad. But Kenny was so adamant. He was like, "Jerry, mark my words, My Hero Academia." And lo and behold, I took a foot right in my mouth because that next year or the year after that, you couldn't go a step in Akon without seeing 15 Dekus, 13 Todorokis, 50 Bakugos. You know what I mean? There was so many. It was My Hero everywhere. I mean, you couldn't walk in a convention, and you couldn't walk in an anime convention in the last 2 or 3 years without seeing My Hero everywhere. So Kenny absolutely called it. He knew from the day that it started that this series, and that's why for me, I've been watching My Hero since the very first episode came out of the anime, because Kenny said, "All right, Jerry, it's coming." And so I watched it weekly. I've watched it weekly every season since then. I have not read the manga yet. I'm a baby. I'm a baby back bitch. I can't get into the manga. I just want to watch the damn anime. I just want to enjoy the anime, damn it. But it's crazy what My Hero has done, Chase. So I think you make a really good point about that. It got the head start. It had the Powerade. It was at the race line ready to fucking go, dude.
Adjusted the time zone.
What else, boys? What do you guys think? Any other thoughts on this idea? This rotating door of shonen. Where are we going with this?
Like I said, I think it's just hard. It's hard, and I think that actually, this is I don't want to talk about something in Jujutsu Kaisen because it's kind of spoilers.
Don't you dare, you son of a bitch.
Jujutsu Kaisen did something very, very well. And I think that more shonen anime should learn from it. It's something that I cannot talk about.
Perfect. Yep, that's great.
But it did, and
trying to enjoy this damn anime this season, Kenny.
It just did something very well, and I think that because of that, it makes it so that it's easier to continue to run because of how they introduced certain aspects.
Right. So it set itself up to be a long-running shonen series. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Or actually, this isn't too bad spoilers. Okay.
Son, I'm worried. We all looking at you like you're crazy, dude.
They introduced Sukuna as the strongest demon, right? Period.
Yeah, episode one.
Sukuna is the strongest demon, and then Gojo says, "I would beat him," and so
he does.
Because of
also in episode 1. Yeah, the blindfolded guy shows up at the end of episode 1.
In episode 2.
He says Sukuna. He says that he would take Sukuna out.
And I think that by doing that, it wasn't like in Demon Slayer, we didn't think that our Hashira, the dude that we meet in the beginning, is as strong as Muzan. but because they introduced Sukuna as the strongest, period, and Gojo as capable of fighting him, it makes it so that power scaling isn't as important, if that makes sense. You can continue to grow your characters, but we sort of have these far off marks that exist, and they're sort of already existing within the world. And I think that's really smart to not, because power scaling is so difficult for a long running shonen, right?
Yeah.
You can't just go Super Saiyan Blue 2,
Yeah.
Super Saiyan Blue, baby.
Make him go Ultra Instinct. Make him just continue to power
Wait,
up.
I found out about this thing called Super Dragon Ball Heroes last night, and it blew my fucking mind. Have you guys heard of this?
The
Yes,
anime
it's mostly promotional just for Dragon Ball.
Yeah, what the fuck? I read like a synopsis where like Xeno Goku Super Saiyan 4 teams up with Dragon Ball Super Goku Super Saiyan Blue and like 9 different Truxes. I was like,
Dragon Ball AF, bro.
yo.
Yeah.
Honestly, dude, David, look up Super Dragon Ball Heroes. That shit.
July 1st, 2018. This has been out for over 2 years.
Yeah, they release
Well,
like one episode every
yeah.
month or something. It's like pretty infrequent.
It was going along with Dragon Ball Super to
Yeah.
help hype it up. But I feel like if you have a brain, you won't like it. If you have a brain, you will not like it.
I've heard it's unwatchable almost. Like it's so ridiculous.
is.
Yeah, okay.
It
That's
is.
what I
It's
heard.
over the top. Golden Kura. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, dog. Get this out of here. Let's go.
I want to watch it just for shits and giggles because the episodes are only like 7 or 8 minutes long or something, right? They're like short episodes.
I used to watch it I watched like 3 episodes. I'm like, nope, I can't do
it. That's crazy.
And I'm super shonen. Shonen.
And that's like Shonen that's when Shonen goes too far.
No, that's what God of High School aspired to be.
Oh my god.
I like that.
We didn't even get to talk about God of High School on this episode because
I like
that's a whole nother basket of worms that we're gonna definitely get into God of High School in a later episode where we do a deep dive review of that show because I think that all of us were a bit. I want to use the word disappointed is the word I'm going to use. Honestly, I think that we all had.
Seen my shit, so from what I've seen so far, I'm like, okay. But from what I've heard from you guys,
There's
like,
just these adaptations of the webtoons have been so not good.
different from
Except
the
for One Punch Man.
Well, One Punch Man is a beautiful adaptation,
Right.
but that's
One Punch
because
Man is an adaptation of an adaptation.
of an adaptation. Yeah, it's an animated version of a redrawn version of a web comic. Yeah,
Tomato.
Same
Same thing.
dude. The original one version of One Punch Man is still so funny to me. Like I love reading
It looks like Mob Psycho.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so funny, dude. It's so funny. Okay. Okay, guys. Well, on that note, I think we've just about wrapped this up. We've been going for about an hour and a half. I think we just about hit all the major points. So Kenny and Chase, this is going to be new to you. So Kenny does this thing at the end of every episode where he picks out an anime and he tells us why it lasted longer than it should have. So he's going to give us some interesting thoughts. So Kenny, what are you unraveling for us today, my man?
So this week we're going to talk about Mafia Home Tutor Reborn, or KATEKYO Hitman Reborn.
Reborn. Okay.
Oh, we didn't talk about.
Yes, you've been planning to do Reborn.
So-
Okay.
So Reborn is about this dude Tsunayoshi, and he's like bad at stuff, I guess. But then this little baby guy shows up and starts shooting him in the head and makes him lose all of his clothes for some reason. But then it becomes a battle manga. They start fighting. They start fighting other mafias. And, oh yeah. Let me tell you, he's actually supposed to be the 10th leader of this Vongala family, which is a mafia. So then they start fighting other mafias. Or first they have to like become the mafia heads. Then they start fighting other mafias. Then they go to the future for
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
300 chapters, like an immense amount of time. And then they get introduced. There are these rings that give powers, but then there are these pacifiers that give powers. And then then the pacifiers have to like fight. The pacifier guys fight, and actually the pacifiers turn them into babies. They all actually looked like real full-sized humans. Originally.
Mm-hmm.
And then they fight another mafia family that like existed in the past that was friends with.
Oh shit!
they also have rings, and everybody's got rings that give them powers, and then they introduce boxes that can only be opened with rings.
Oh my god! There's more mafia artifacts that get introduced.
Yeah,
and all the characters have like different powers that they unlock with their rings. Oh my god!
After the boxes get introduced, they start summoning these things. But then whenever the boxes are only made in the future,
they have like spirit beasts. They have like spirit animals. Oh, I forgot about that.
So to bring the spirit animals back to the past, they make them into rings anyway.
Yes.
So now they all wear 2 rings, and it's just fucking.
Oh my god! Yeah, they have like JoJo style like animal stands at one point.
Yeah,
it's pretty JoJo's-esque because the animals will like fight for them. Honestly, guys, Kenny just nailed it. Reborn is ridiculous. It starts as a comedy series.
Dynamite and shit.
Oh yeah, one of the guy's main powers is he literally just throws dynamite at people.
Yeah.
He just pulls dynamite and the other guy is just like a baseball player, so he just like hits people with a baseball bat. Yeah, I'm like, what in the world is this show?
And he starts doing katana moves, and one guy.
Oh, I forgot he gets a sword. Shit.
Okay, my favorite character is Sabari because
I forgot about that.
He's the disciplinary committee chair. And he says, I will fight you to death. And then genuinely fucking does that shit over and over. All of his fights are ridiculous.
Insane.
He just beats the shit out of people. He's just like, I'm just going to keep fucking fighting you until I'm dead.
This is an anime that lasted way too long. And not just that, it lasted so long that both the anime and the manga both got canceled, which really sucks. They both never got a genuine ending because by the time they reached peak popularity, and then it just they just started to tank after all this future stuff, and there was like all these ridiculous arcs and
Goku
Dara with his freaking.
Bro.
If you want to watch an anime that goes off the rails, go watch Hitman Reborn, dude. That shit is wild.
It starts as a comedy manga, then becomes a pretty cool battle anime.
Yeah, battles to shonen.
Then you're like, why are we in the future?
Yeah.
Why is everybody dead?
They introduced like a thriller, almost seinen level aspect to it at the back half. I mean, it starts to get really intense. There starts to be a lot of like death and fighting, but it's because it's supposed to be like the mafia, but like ridiculous. The lead character becomes pretty cool in my opinion. Suna actually gets much cooler as the show goes on.
When he becomes serious.
Yeah. Suna becomes pretty cool near the end.
Whenever he doesn't have to take all his clothes off to transform.
Jesus. Well, thank you, Kenny. Thank you for our beautiful unraveling. I hope Chase, I hope you enjoyed that. I know you've never seen Reborn, but hopefully have you seen all of it or just bits and pieces? Or...
I've seen up to when they started actually fighting.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
like when he used to get the little fire hands or whatever.
Yep, he got the gloves. Yeah,
the gloves, the little mittens, and then they turn into like.
Yes, dude. Okay, so yeah, now you know that it doesn't really get much better. It spins.
I feel like gone when he has all that smoke coming out of his ears.
Okay, great, guys. Well, we had a great episode, great time today. I want to say thank you so much to Chase, the Dark Sage Collections, for coming on here and talking shonen anime with us. We just had a great time going over all the shonen, the future of shonen. This was a really great episode. I enjoyed it. I really loved having you on, Chase. Hopefully you can come back in a couple weeks, maybe sometime next semester, to do another episode with us. We would love that, especially just to keep talking about where shonen's going to go, but also to talk about some other GOAT animes. I know you love a couple other different animes and different genres outside of shonen too, and it would be great to talk some of that as well in the future. But Kenny, David, if you guys don't have anything, then I'm going to take us home. Thanks everyone for listening. To any of you listening at home, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all of that if you enjoyed what we're doing here. We are bringing you new content about anime every Friday. Hopefully, if you're still interested, we are giving away the first volume of Chainsaw Man, the manga. If you are interested, it's easy. All you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe on either this video or last week's video. If you like, comment, and subscribe, you're entered in the giveaway, and we will contact you if you're selected to win the first volume of Chainsaw Man. We are still doing that giveaway, so if you want to enter, you can enter on this episode or last week's episode, so make sure you do that. But other than that, we are grateful for your time. We're grateful for having you guys, and we're going to sign it off. So everyone, we like to end our podcast here with a little bit of peace.
Peace.